Beep, 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 beep.
Hey, welcome to PBL Secret Sauce number 4. Tips for collaboration during a PBL unit, or really anytime in any PBL unit during a project. Students need to be collaborating and working together. It happens throughout the unit, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But also today, I'm going to talk to you about tips you can use for collaboration, whether or not your students are engaged in a PBL project. Now, according to research, collaboration is one of the key strategies that leads to student success and achievement. However, and here's the kicker, studies are also showing that you need to have your time in the classroom spent doing it 60 to 80% of the time. That means you've got to set it up early in the school year, and you have to have structures in place so that it sets up students for success. You can't just say, hey, go work together and assume that it's going to be successful. So today what I'm going to do is bash through some real quick strategies and tips that can help you with the students, allow your students to collaborate during a project-based learning unit or really any time. Okay, so the first piece of advice I'm going to give you that for any unit in which a group of students are working together, that is beyond just the turn and think, pair, share type of scenario, I'm going to suggest that you have them spend a little bit of time putting together a collaboration constitution, because every project kind of has its own goals and its own focus. So what you can do is you can go to this link, tinyurl.com/collaborationconstitution2017. I know it's 2018, but and I'm going to give you access to this assignment that looks a little funky in this particular format. However, it gives the kids some kind of a structure, who are the members of the team, and it asks them to start proactively thinking about how are we going to communicate, how are we presenting ideas, how are we going to come to a consensus or move on from disagreement. It asks them to develop a mission statement and to sign the document as well. And it kind of asks them to proactively think about the things that might go wrong and the steps they're going to take to deal with that situation before you even think about coming to the teacher. And if our goal is to develop independent learners, that can be really valuable. Now, along those lines, if you have students create a collaboration constitution at the beginning, let me do it this way, at the beginning of a unit, at the end of the unit, using the language in the Constitution, the kids can then develop a rubric to assess each other using the norms that they set up. But they have to think ahead. If, for instance, they want to evaluate a group member on not responding to emails within a timely manner, they can't put that bullet on the rubric if they didn't anticipate that in the collaboration constitution. So you've bookended the group work by proactively thinking ahead and knowing that they're going to be evaluating each other and giving them a tool to do so. Before you have students really collaborate for a long period of time on a particular project, you kind of want to set up your classroom to have a culture of collaboration. So one of the tricks I do for that is this. I will take like a group of 4 at a table group, and I will name them for different characters in books or plays. I teach literature, so I attach it to my content area. I've got a Prince Hal, a Watson, a Skullduggery, and a Lockwood. That makes it very, very simple and easy for me to say, hey, can all you Prince Hals go over to the corner over there and share your drafts with each other? Or I might say, hey, can I see all the Lockwoods over here? I've got a standard I want to talk to you guys about. By setting up a culture of collaboration, it won't be such a stop, start when you launch into a particular project that requires collaboration. Easy trick. Okay, so the next 2 little tricks I'm going to talk to you about have to do with the research process that's in every single project-based learning unit. Every single PBL unit requires some level of research on the topic the kids are investigating. And the greatest thing is to have the kids in their collaborative groups create vetted material that all of them can pull from to in order to create their individual mini projects or essays or whatever it is you're wanting them to create. So for those of you that are following the PBL Secret Sauce series, my PBL unit focuses on the superhero unit. And the kids create different superheroes. They finally collaborate and create superhero leagues. And in the end, they actually create a website that shows me all of their research. Now, how am I going to assess what each student brought to the research library that they collaborated on? And the answer is they color code. Duh, they color code. So one superhero or one student shows me that she has done all of that research, and this superhero has contributed this research, and this superhero has contributed this research. And you can kind of see that they all have contributed to a collaborative research library. Now, in addition, the other way to do this, going back to kind of this here, is to have someone in their league create a collaborative curating form. And that collaborative curating form allows them to create an archive on a particular topic. So if someone can create this form, then students at that point can then, if I look at this, can then have access to the spreadsheet that is seated behind that form. And they now have access to all of the materials that everyone has been working on. Collaborative research. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is having them do collaborative writing. Again, your best friend here is going to be color coding because that's how you're going to be able to see who did what. So this is a problem statement that some of my students wrote in order to pitch an idea that they wanted to get approved. So you can see that different students wrote different parts of the piece. And at the end, they all developed questions. Here's your inquiry. Questions that maybe could further their research if they get their pitch approved. And then they also showed me their bibliography and the research that they'd done just leading up to their pitch. So another way for kids to collaborate. Okay, so we just have a couple more left here, but when students are giving each other feedback, when they're crowdsourcing and critiquing their each other's work, there's two different ways that I do this. So for one thing, of course, I create a worksheet or a packet that has questions that I'd like students to answer about each other's work. That's teacher created. However, what is also really powerful is when the student creates their own Google form and sends it to students, their selection, that will give them feedback on their work. So they get to, once again, bringing an inquiry, they get to develop the questions that they would like to get feedback on specifically and send it out to specific students. So maybe they're collaborating on the research with one group of students, but maybe they're asking for feedback with another group of students. Different ways of doing fluid grouping, different ways of doing collaboration. And finally, of course, they can be collaborating on different projects by delegating different pieces of that project to create one big whole. So for instance, this is one of the Superhero League websites. And when I look at it, you can kind of see that there's different pieces of it that have been created by different students. I think this was done on a Google site. So one student has done an infographic, another person has done the visuals for an Ignite speech, and another student has done a PSA, a public service announcement. If I look at this particular one, prepare to be amazed, and I look in the menu, I'll see on the website, the advocacy speech was color-coded and all of them added to it. The presentation is the Ignite speech visuals. One of the students made an infographic. Another student did a public service announcement. We've got our collaborative executive summary, an About Us page, and their collaborative research library, which is color-coded as well. Shoo! That's a lot of ways to collaborate in a project-based learning unit or anytime in your classroom. Hope you enjoyed it. PBL Secret Sauce. My name is Heather Wilbert-Guerin, and good luck with collaboration this year. Take care. Bye-bye. Bum bum bum.